On Bangalore branch of SRCF ICAI for Manohar Gupta, even in his busy schedule, 31st of March is presented in papers, and really it was a knowledge enriching session. I thank on behalf of Bangalore branch of ICAI once again, and we'll move on to the second technical session of Venugopal Gella sir. I welcome Venugopal Gella sir for this session. Welcome sir. I request our secretary to give a brief introduction of the speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. CA Venugopal G is a founder partner of Messrs. Venu and Vinay, Chartered Accountants since 2002. He had secured 45th rank in All India CA final. He is an active speaker at ICAI on GST, especially on technology and its implementation challenges. He's authored various industry-specific handbooks on GST. He's contributed to the technical guide on the GST audit released by ICAI and other publication materials. He conducts workshops on filing of returns with ease use of automation. He has developed a lot of Excel-based free utilities on GST, like JSON Reader, creating JSON file, GST Invalidator, composition versus regulation decision analysis, GST Audit Working Paper Tool. He's a GST faculty for ICAI, conducted at various workshops and webinars. He's played an active role in drafting and design along with the GST and NIC. His other areas of practice includes design and development of internal control and process documentation, consulting in ERP implementation or migration, management consultancy for business analytics, and growth and design for management information systems. Apart from audits, he has hands-on coding in VBNet, Python, and he reviews database of designs. Here now I would like to present Mr. Venugopal G, and I would like to welcome him for the dais. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pramod. Thank you, Srinivas sir, for considering a session like this and at the beginning of the bank branch audit. I'm sure the participants would also be eager to upgrade their skills and enhance the quality of the bank branch audit. Members, the topic which is considered by the branch is the how to use the data analytics in filling up of the LFR. I would like members to put your questions in the chat box as and when the topic is being happening. Sometimes so happens that I would be covering some formula, explaining something maybe you wouldn't understand. So I will be interacting in between. Sir, we have time till 7 o'clock, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me start the session. Honestly, in terms of the presentation, it's only one slide. I have a couple of slides I have put up because everything it will be in Excel practical working. Let me think.
Excuse me, Mr. Venugopal.
Yes, sir.
I just because I have got I will not be in a position to take benefit of your presentation. And as Mr. Srinivas put in, there are not any queries are there. I know you are capable of handling the queries. I just announce that my success. You please handle. Then thank you very much. I will leisurely. I will listen to from the YouTube whatever presentation is made. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas.
Thank you, Gupta sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And like very happy to be part of this session along with Manohar Gupta sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes. Okay, so let me actually skip. See why I'm using only an Excel, because Excel is something which is known and it has a good analytical capabilities and more easy for documentation. Today, documentation is the more important in the whether peer review or anything. So let me stop the presentation. And so So I have made some material for our discussion. So let me copy that to today's program. All right. So what are the things that are there for learning to the members when you are doing the bank branch audit? So these are some of the formulas which definitely are handy, and that is something which we will be using in Excel. And of course, the first and fundamental is converting data to Excel. Yeah. So these are some basic information one should be aware of while doing the bank branch audit. And the objective of today's session is to ensure that you get a fair idea of how to use this. And once you use this, so what is the other information which I would like to you make some analysis basis the data. Yeah. So here are different workings. By learning this data, by learning this, what you are seeing on the left side, the activities to do, these are the various activities I will demonstrate so that you can also execute. But to do this, these are the basic functions or formulae I would expect everyone to be aware of. They should be knowing. And again, feel free to interrupt. Once in a while, I'll be looking at the question and answer in the Q&A section. I request participants to put the question and answers in the Q&A section and not in the chat section. And whenever of course, today the technology is a very pivotal role. So if my audio or video is not coming in between, I request the branch members to call and interrupt. Okay. Let us start with the couple of basic things, which is converting data into Excel, converting any data into an Excel. See, when you get the data from the bank, right, say for cash or deposits or financial statements or anything, whenever I get a data, the data would be into a text file. You know, it would be into a text file like this. So the data is in multiple columns. There is a data. This is not an Excel file. The data is in multiple columns. So this is the balance sheet, or if I go to my analysis of yeah. So if I go to analysis of any of the loan files which is there, in which you will be downloading from the thing, it will all be in different format. And I've just given the names the way the names were there. So you will find the data, everything into a different format. Sometimes it would be .zz, even that's also text file or a plain text file. So the data always comes to us in this format. And from here is what we have to do the audit. And the objective of the audit is to issue the audit report and LFR. Here is the guideline which we have received from RBI, saying that, okay, the long form audit report has to be presented, and I would recommend everyone to go through these guidelines which has been given by the RBI. And if I see the long form audit report, Annexure 2, this is for the branch auditor. And if you notice, the guideline principles which has been given for coverage of LFAR is to have an overall objective of the branch board audit should be to have a transaction testing. So they are expecting you to test the transaction and provide input to the central statutory auditor on adequacy of implementation of various policies. Then they're also asking us to look at the threshold fixed for different purposes for comments in the LFR and whether they are above the threshold or not. Then they're also asking us for verification of data integrity related controls. So this is very beautifully simple, crisp expectations which have been set, and the LFAR is there. Of course, I'm not going through all the aspects of the LFAR. I am going to cover some aspects of the LFAR. Now, in a classroom, the way I would work is I would explain these formulas one by one, and I will go to the actual doing. Just to have that, since this is in a virtual, people may not get it as things. So what I thought is I will explain the formulas again here, and again, once again, when we go to the data, actual data when we are working, right? So I will start with a simple thing, which is converting data into Excel, and I'll start with our cash. Now, in the cash, if you see, we have an expectation whether it is in joint custody and whether the ATM balances have been checked and is it matching. So what is the limit which is set by the controlling authority? So we have these questions, and for every question in the LFAR, I would expect members to have some working back in your audit working paper. Like this LFAR is already available in Excel, Word format, or Google Sheets, however people use it. So you can start using it. Yeah. So let's start with the simple thing. So let me open an Excel file. Pramod, just to confirm whether my Excel, everything, the Word, text files, everything is properly visible, right? And my audio is clear.
Sir, audible, visible, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, so for the participant, having a genuine Excel is very important so that you can get the right formula and updated things. When you go to the bank branch, you carry your laptop. Most of the times banks will give you a system if they're giving a system and the system has open office, and if you're not comfortable, then you can use your system. Else use the bank audit, the system provided by the branch. Sometimes the data you cannot copy because the pen drives would be disabled. So you can have the data be emailed to you. You can put it into a common folder and email to you. In some branches, some banks, you have this like little struggle in getting the data. So, but as long as when you give the confidence that this is for the audit, they will be sharing the data. I have never experienced in extraction of the data from the bank any issue, right? Okay, so we will start with the first learning object of converting data into Excel in the context of filling my LFAR first point, which is cash. Let me go to the presentation data, Bangalore branch, cash. So there is a cash balance file, and friends, you should always know what are the various reports. For example, let me quickly pick. So any bank, any branch, they have different software, CVS. Now, what I'm showing you in the screen is, say, for FlexCube. In FlexCube, if you want to get a loan balance for term loans, you should use a report called LN707. And if you want the customer wise, line wise listing, LN632. ODCC, SB account, deposits accounts have a different functionality. The OD reports are in CH. The SB current account, they are in CH category. So you need to know which is the report to access based on the different software. Like this is for FlexCube. But if you go to Finacle, like FlexCube, you have business reports also. But if you go to, let's say, Finacle has a different code. So for different activities in different softwares, you have a different code. Now, most of the times you might not be aware. You should ask, sir, I need this report. In fact, what is not possible in the audit report is what you cannot imagine or what you cannot ask. If you ask, you will get a solution. It's just that we restrain most of the times in asking. Now, let me start with the cash. There is something called cash balance report. Okay, there is a cash balance report. So a report from one date to another date. So you get on a different date, there's a cash balance, right? So what I'm doing is, let me open the file. So I'm opening the file, Control O is the opening file, and I'm just browsing to this folder called cash. And let me access this file. If you see carefully, in this folder, when I was trying to access the file, there are actually no files here, but I have actually copied from here, and there was supposed to be one file here called cash. That file is missing. The reason being, you are trying to open an Excel file, but that's a text file. So on the next to file name, you can see there is something called Excel files. You select all files. You select all files, you will get the file called whatever the file you want to access. There's a text file that's available. So I'll say open. Another simple way, just do a Control A, copy and paste it. Once you get that, you will have a 3-text wizard data. It's a 3-text wizard data. And you can always use in the steps, there is delimited or fixed width. Whenever the data is, you can see that there is comma in it. So you know that, okay, it's a comma separated. So you can use a delimiter called comma. I will use next, and it is automatically, you can see there are lines that have come. That lines indicate their columns. And in case if you want to have the date defined, you can say, okay, yes, this is a date. This is in the date format. So you can say it is my date, date, month, and year. And I say finish. So you have the data. Now, what is my objective? My objective is the branch maintaining cash balance, which is within the limit specified by the bank authority or not. So that's your objective. So you have some data of the cash reporting balance file. So you got cash balance report file. Whenever you get the data from a text file to Excel file, please see on the top of the screen, you can still see on the, let me zoom if I can. On the top of the screen, you can see this is still the 02 cash balance 2018-19 text file only. Since it is still text file, let me save this file. Let me save as. So I will be saving this as my cash working. Yeah. So here instead of this, I am saving it as Excel and saying it as my cash working. Now it has become an Excel file. That's the first step. Second, have a proper nomenclature. So this, I will say this is my raw data. And always make a working of it. for some reason you will always lose the data or you will overwrite some file. So I'm just making a copy of it. I'm making a copy and creating a copy of it in the same thing. You can see there's another file, another sheet that got created. So I am saying instead of raw data, this is cache analysis. This is my cache analysis. So in terms of your learning curve, we have completed how to convert the data into an Excel. The next important thing, once the data is converted into Excel. Yeah, so there is a three-step wizard. There was a three-step wizard. We understood whether it is delimited or a fixed width. Whenever you know there is a comma or a pipe or any information, you will use delimited. Otherwise, you go to the fixed width. Then comes you have to format the data. It's like removing unwanted rows, putting the headers and everything. You got to do formatting of the data so that the data is usable. So let's do the formatting of this file. So I come to the date. Let me also parallelly put some the formulas which are using. There are a lot of shortcut keys, and make notes, whatever the notes you can make, and this recording would also be available to you. But when you use the shortcuts, it's always easy. So I'm using Control Shift plus N quickly to navigate to the end. So I'm here, I'm pressing Control Shift End. So I have reached the end, and Alt D, F and F to apply filter. Apply the filter. Now, whenever you are trying to do Alt D, F, if you are doing for the first time, people try to do Alt D, F, not necessary. You press Alt, you can remove your key. Here is like I press Alt, I remove my key, then D, F. So, yeah, so I have applied the filter. Then I want to remove unwanted data. So I'm just selecting these lines, date, blank. So all of it delete, and Alt plus E plus D. Alt ED. So it says delete the entire row. I say okay. And I want to see all the data. So show all. For show all DF and ES. So all DFS, I am able to see everything. Then auto-word the data, Alt plus O plus C plus A, right? So Alt OCA to have auto-word, you have automatically have set it. So now just do some data cleansing. So I don't need this header in selecting the data. Freeze always the trans. Whenever you are working, freeze pane, so that is Alt W and F. So there's like I come here, Alt W F F. So advantage of freezing the pane is when I go down, I am retaining what is there in my top. I am retaining an MC. So now let us just do some simple the data cleansing. So there is nothing here. This is 0. This is blank. There's nothing here. This is 0, and there's nothing here. So technically, I don't need this column. I can do Control minus or Alt ED and C. Both are the same. Both work. So I'm just saying this is balanced. All right. So now we have got the data on various dates. Right. Now let us prepare the very important thing. A very important thing which we have to in learning is, so this I have, so for me it's easy to track. So the next thing I will explain you is pivot. So it's very important that understand pivot, all right? So this is the data. Instead of minus balance, I just want it to be in positive. So how do I do positive balance in one go? I can just do -1 and multiply with this data with -1. Sometimes in case, ideally it shouldn't be. Generally, the way softwares are designed, debits would be minus and credits would be positive. So I'm just converting this. I'm multiplying all the data. I'm multiplying the data with -1. So it has become +1. And you can use apply comma style. Always apply comma style and keep the data with the 2 digits so that you know what you are dealing with, right? So this is the data you have. Select the data. Control Shift down is in a go it comes it, or just do Alt A. Sorry, Control A. You get select the data. So you can also write data selection is Control plus A. Yeah. Now let us insert a pivot table, simple pivot. So pivot is Alt plus B plus P, or you can go to insert and you can click on pivot table. Anything, both work. This is the data. You choose the range from where you want to use and put it into a new worksheet. Say OK. Whenever you are working with the data, this is another thing very important, that make sure that you don't keep the names like this, sheet 1, sheet 2, all these things. That is not good. So make sure you do the nomenclature. So let me just stop. So I will say cash pivot. Now what do we want? Let's say I want my date and my balance. Automatically, the moment I gave the date, it became quarter, and in the various dates, the date has come. Yeah. So let me remove the year also. So why am I again putting pivot? Now, the way you would want to do with this is you also want to quickly analyze what is the balance which you have. So I can, instead of sum, if you notice on my right side, the way the pivots work is you have the pivot data. Filter is to apply the filter. It is a matrix. What do you want to have on columns? What do you want to have on the rows? What do you want to have on the balance? Now, instead of my balance of sum, I am putting the balance as average. So let me put this as an average balance. So in the value, I am setting this as my average. And since it is single date, it is an average. So now instead of date, let me also take the balance here. Now you notice, okay, there's a balance, and the balance is what I am doing. What am I trying to do? One good thing the Excel has is clustering. So to my data, I am saying that just try to group this. Yeah. So the moment I say group, it says pick what is starting, what is ending, and it is grouping. So it has done some grouping analysis. So now you can actually see that my data between this range to this range, there is so much of the information. I can get again one more time the balance here, and it says on 242 days. Now look at this. See, there are total 365 days data. So you can see on your count. So let me zoom a bit. So you can see there are 365 days data, and you can see the average balance is 1 crore 41 lakhs. Now let us come to this analysis here and ask this question. What are the questions which RBI is asking? Whether they are significantly varying with the limit which is set. Now let us get a simple answer. What is my average balance? right? So the formula is average. You can just say average of this. So it's this 1,41. What was my minimum balance? Is equal to minimum of this data. And what was my highest balance? What was my maximum balance on any given date? So you can say max of this, right? So you know on some days it was this. Now let us say the threshold limit. So the limit set by the in the branch. Okay, let us say they have set a limit of 1 crore 50 lakhs. So I'm saying, let us say the limit which is set is 1 crore 50 lakhs. Now you want to see on how many days the limit has exceeded, right? So now let us use a simple formula. So I will say a status. I will say a status, and let us learn the next thing called if formula. Let me put it as these are completed. Let me say so that I ensure by the time the session is over, I complete all the tool. Okay, so let us understand an if formula. Now, pretty simple, very much required. If this balance is greater than the limit which is set, 1.5 crore, I'm just phrasing it so that when I move down it, then this is, I am saying report. So you can see there's a comma, that is value through. Else, I'm putting one more comma. What is the value of false? Ignore. All right. So it's saying ignore. So I can just drop down and I can just fill everything. So control. So there are some dates the data is available to report, some dates the data is to be ignored. So now, 1 minute. My system got frozen. Yeah. So now let us see on how many days we could the date they are exceeding and how many days they are not exceeding. So I'm just copying this and pasting it here. Sorry, pasting it as a value. So people so let us also learn the next formula, which is our sum if and count if. Now, so on how many days I have to report is equal to count if. I just want to count on how many days. This is my range and the criteria is to report, and on how many days I can ignore, right? So on 106 days it has exceeded the limit. Let's say the criteria is not to 1.5 crore. Let's say the criteria is 2 crore. Now automatically you can see on 84 days it has exceeded. 84 days also is substantially higher. It's substantially higher. So people want to know how the formula is, and I'll just show you the formula which we have used. So I have said if my B2, which is the balance, is exceeding the balance to be reported, then report it, else ignore. This is the if formula, and I'm just counting, and for counting I'm just saying count if the number of items in column C, if it is exceeding, then report it. So now you can see from your pivot table. So if you see the bracket which we are looking at is more than 2 crores, the kind of range. So there are very smaller number of days where the data exceeded average balance more than 2 crores. So, or here, these many days, which is around 82, 83 days, these are the days that it has exceeded. So, by this way, you have something to report on what days you have analyzed. Most of the time, earlier I noticed is like here the answer would be yes, no, nil, not applicable. I think we should get away with that kind of simple answers, but we should be going yes. During the observation, the limit set is so much. On these days, the limit has exceeded. And then you can specifically ask, can you show me that has there been an approval or an intimation that, okay, this balance has been exceeded? These are the reasons. Why was it not been sent to chest? So you can actually go and have that been asked, right? So any doubts to anyone? So now we have completed our count if also. Some if any, don't worry, I'll cover it again. Any questions to participants till this? In case if you have any questions, put your questions in the Q&A. If you are putting your questions in the chat, again I have to see. Okay, there's a question in the chat. How to extract the cash balance report? Okay, sir. Again, Ranjan, I would say that you ask. Like there are n number of like I have shown you. There are n number of reports. There are reports, substantial reports available. Now, it has to know how to get everything comes into a text file. So I think that the easiest thing is to how to get that file. The toughest job is after getting the file, what I have to analyze. Yeah. Hope this answers Ranjan. Okay. The next thing, let us. Okay. Any questions to anyone on pivot or if? Count if anyone have any questions? By the way, this is a virtual session. The only way I can understand whether you are participating, you are getting is even if you just respond, okay, no questions, at least I know that the other side, the audience are there and listening. So in the chat box, you can just say no questions or understood, this is clear, we can move to the next step. And at least I know that the system is working and my audio, video, everything is visible. I got one response, Nagaraj sir, thank you. Other participants, any questions? Ravi Shankar is asking a question, is there a system of automatically generating a folder containing all static standard reports after EOD in all PSUs? Answer is yes. Bank staff always pretend that there is no such system in their bank to avoid providing the files. Ravi Shankar sir, if they are giving you an audit system, in your system, you just need to ask it, and audit is an art. How skillfully you intrude and ask them to show the file is where you should be knowing. And we've been doing bank audit. It's like I'm sure each one of you are here. Average has around 10 years experience of the bank branch. Average. So definitely there are people with 30 years and etc. So I'm sure by now we are skillfully we can intrude in looking at various data. Okay. So with this I close on the cash system. Next to the next point which is there in LFR, right? So generally 0.2, 3, 4 are not applicable. Balance with other branch, investments, and the outside India. So going to the point number 5, very important. Some big queries appearing on the screen. Is it so for others? Is the square gone? Okay. Don't put two questions privately. If you are putting questions, I want you to put it in the chat so that it's easy for me to see. The branch people, if you are seeing that there is something The next thing is, it is asking us to answer the following questions. They are asking us to analyze the large advances. And large advances are those, the outstanding amount is in excess of 10% of the total, fund-based, non-fund-based, or 10 crores, whichever is less. So for this, let us analyze one loan file. Let me take one loan file. There is one LN707. Okay, let me use this file and let's analyze this file. All right, so from cash, let me go to loans and LN707. I'm opening this file. Again, 3-step wizard. This time, I am using, instead of a delimiter, I will be using fixed width. Why I will be using fixed width? Because if you look at my data, the data do not have, if you can see, the data do not have any comma. There is some fixed gap. So instead of delimiter, I will be selecting it as fixed width and say next. Now, the moment you give fixed width, you have to define the width. And please note, whenever it's a fixed width, numbers are always right aligned, text is always left aligned, so that you know where to apply the columns. So I know for sure this is my end for this. So I can put a column here, and I can put a column here, and the data is starting. I don't want this. I can put a column here, and this is some date is there, so I know I can put a column exactly here to here. I can put a column, and I'm putting a column here. By the way, how do I put the column? Just click it, you are putting the column, and there is some rate of interest. What is there on the top? There's a liability. I'm just putting a column here, right? So you can just little bit, if you want, you can do it. All right, so finish. So now you have the data with you. You have the data that has come. So first and foremost, you can just save this file as XLS. This is what you have to do. Otherwise, you will be losing all the work. So LN707, I am putting it into Excel file. The second thing, make a copy of it. Otherwise, you will lose some error. So I will save this as my raw data, and I will save this as LN707 formatted. Right. So now I just need to get the data in order. So first and foremost, always auto fit the column. The formula to auto fit the, we can close the cache. We have used it. LN707, we have used it. So let me put this as formula so that at the end I can share you this file. So this is our formula, and now if you see here, everything is good, but you can notice that my customer name, some information is actually one line below. So some information is in proper, but some information has gone one line below, which is especially customer name. So what do we do is, I will just move one line up. I'm just increasing the cells up. Okay, you can see now all this data is in one line, and my liability is also needs to move one line up. I'm saying I move the liability to one line up, so I can now see data coming. Sometimes you see this issue of this plus, you can import it and set it, or you can set this file while importing, you can set it as a text and import, or you can just set it as number and you can make it as 0. Also, this is your account number. So now you can see that, okay, your name and everything is properly visible into one place. Your name and number is properly visible into one place. So let's just clean up the data. I would request people to pay attention. So I'm just making serial number, old account. There is a new account. Now we are doing the cleaning of the thing. This is customer name. What is my open date, LOD date, ROI, and this is my closing balance, right? So freeze the thing. Let's just now start clearing unwanted data. So clear unwanted data. So how do I clear? Let me first select my blank as a total, old account, name of the account, so various things are there. See whether this is what you don't want. You can see some customer names also is showing up. So you have applied a filter to a wrong place. So in your serial number, yeah, this is the best thing. In your serial number, yeah, you don't need this data, right? So you just select it and remove it. Select this and remove it. So you are cleaning and getting the right data that is required for the audit. Now, in a while, you will analyze all the questions that have been given in your LFAR. How do we pick? How do we do? All those things will come up. Let me show some applications so that it's a little faster. Don't get this. Wait for a moment. So and always have ensure a good system where you can process it faster. Let's do it quickly again. We were in the loan file. We were analyzing LN 707, the Excel file. So let's open that. Yeah. So this is your raw data. This is your formatted data. And let's quickly, we had the issue with the customer name. We need to move it up one cell, and we had an issue with the balance. We have to move it in one cell. Now get the serial number, old account number, new account number, then this is the customer name and the open data, all this is there. So I don't need the header, and we don't need. Let's now clean up the data. I am clearing the blank file. So I have removed the blank column. Then we will start applying pivot table. So we have done the pivot table. So now it is very important that we understand the range and Vlookup. This is what now we are going to understand. These two functions, the range and Vlookup, will actually get you to write all the questions. The questions, one is analyzing the large borrower accounts, and the purpose, by the way, they have said is while you are analyzing the large borrower accounts, they are asking you to examine all the transactions. Okay, the specific where the threshold is done, so the comment is expected by them in detail, and for the rest they are expecting us to do the balance thing. Yeah, not sure why my Excel is behaving a little weird today. Give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Let me just switch the system to a different system because the Excel, yeah, it start working. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay. Let me restart my Excel. 1 minute. And maybe I'll disable the video for a moment so that the bandwidth is also saved. Yeah. Okay. There are questions in the chat. Okay. So now there are some empty lines that needs to be deleted. So this is the line that we remove all the unwanted lines. So I am removing this lines which are there. So these unwanted lines have been deleted. So now all that we have to do one by one, get out of all the data and make sure that we get a right detail. So there's a product name. We definitely need the product name and the account, the number. Let us do the number alignment. So if you notice, the product is actually there in the account number. So there's an account number and your product is somewhere, it is actually visible in the account which you are doing. So the product is visible, right? So this is 603, this is 601. So somewhere here inside, so 1472 is indicating the branch, then 601, 602 is indicating your product. So given that this is there here, you can also say, okay, fine, given that I have that data, I can also ignore all this. So this is all the information I am removing. Right? So all the information has been removed. Now let us start working on the data. Always when you are working, make sure you check your file size. Sometimes when you do a copy paste, it will be in MB. So it should always be in some few KB so that it's easy to work. So now here is the data. From here onward, we will be making various analysis to that data. So I am just inserting a blank thing, and we call this as helper call. So let's say, what is my product code? Here the product code is 601. This is 603. Where is the product code starting from? After 4 digits, right? So you can say is equal to mid of, select this, comma 5, comma 3. So starting from 5th digit, 3 digits is your product code. So you can get this till the end. You got your product code. Now, what does product code means? You should know the name, right? So create one sheet called assumptions. Create some sheet called assumptions, and let's get the what those assumptions. Let's get those assumptions, also a clarity of those assumptions. So you have something called product here, and this is the product name and the code. Okay, so let's just get those assumptions set. So 601 means you have the next to the name, you have the code. So now let us get the next thing to learn is Vlookup and creating a name range. Let us learn these two, creating a name range and Vlookup. So that how do we work with the data? And I'm sorry, I'm not sure why the Excel is little slow today. And our activities for us to do is product-wise outstanding, year-wise outstanding, and there is a sample selection, mortality, various questions which are there in our LFAR. Let us now get all these questions of which are there in LFAR be resolved. Think Excel is so here. So we can set it. This is my product name, code, and my name. So we also need to understand the function called either there is a text join to join the text, or concatenate. Okay, concatenate, where I want to like concatenate this, so it became is like in one go. So the formula that you can use is concat. So the formula either you can use concat or ampersand symbol. Like the ampersand symbol is, it is this and this. You can use both, it's like both works the same. So let's just use concatenate these two texts, and I'm till the end. This is what we have created, different types of loans, special them as values. So let us get the product name. Right. So this is code and your name. Now, whenever you are working, so we want to get in my data, this is a product code, I want to get in my product name. So how do I get my name? Is equal to Vlookup. So look this value, the product name, in this assumptions sheet. So from here to here, this data, comma, my result is in second column, so I use comma 2 and comma. True is approximate match, 0 false is the nearest match. You can use 0 or false. You can say false and close. Now it is not finding this because this is in text. This is in here. It is in number. So all that I do is I just multiply it with 1 because it becomes a number. So now you can see all the data it has come. The biggest problem with the VLOOKUP or whenever we are using, we forget to freeze the data. So let me now freeze the data. How I put F4 to this data, the data gets frozen. So you have all the details. But again, the problem, the way we are working it is we really don't know what this assumptions means, from where the data is coming. So whenever you are working with the data and when you are using VLOOKUP multiple times, you really don't know from where the data is coming. So here you can also define in my formulas name manager, I can create a new name called as product code list. Product code list. I've just created a new name. The advantage is I can use it in my thing. Instead of selecting all this thing, I am just saying, give me this in my product code list. Look at this in my product code list and say, give me the column 2. And now you can actually look at this formula difference. So whenever you are using a formula with the name, you have a formula. Like earlier, the first formula is saying that look K2 in the product code list. The second formula is saying look it in the assumption. So if someone looks at it tomorrow, they can easily understand, okay, I'm trying to look for it in the product code list. All right. So that's the advantage of giving name. Now, then there is a open date, LOD date, everything. So these details are there. Now you can do some kind of analysis of this data. So how do I do analysis? So I just select the data and apply a filter, apply a pivot. So I will say loan pivot, and let's say my product name in my rows and my liability. You can now clearly know the data all this while was a huge data. Now it is becoming information. Data to information is very important. Data to information is very much important. I can know this data which is there. Let me sort this largest to smallest. So you can see there is totally 27.8 crores is the portfolio of this branch. This branch has 27.8 crore portfolio. Predominant is housing finance. Predominant is housing finance. Now, let me create multiple types of liabilities. You can also do an IBS. So whenever you created, you might be wondering why I've created so much of this. I will change this data. Instead of some of the thing, I will be showing this value as a percentage to the grand total. So housing loan account to 43%. Then let us also change this to count. And so values as a percentage of the grand total. Now you can clearly see that there are, sorry, this is to be changed to count of liability. Yeah. So now you can clearly see there are 891 accounts and predominant loans are housing finance. So this way you are able to really understand a snapshot of the branch. So whenever you are doing the audit, so which means you can assign to someone to know, okay, what are the conditions to check in a house finance or education loan or a mortgage loan. Now this accounts to 80%. This top 5 accounts to 81% of the total portfolio, right? So which means you're covering substantial amount. So the activities to do is to get a product wise outstanding and the loan account analysis. This is what we have done by understanding a pivot table. Now let me show some more detailed insights to the data. Let me pick up another loan file, right? Let me pick up another loan file. So, okay, there is an irregularity. Yeah, okay. This is a CSV file, so I can quickly use delimiter as the comma separated, and let me take this file. So here is the another loan file, which is the comma separated. So let's always make sure that we make it into Excel workbook and make a copy of it. This is your original dump, and this is your working of loan file. So let's quickly with this data. Yeah. So here you have a lot of data. It's just that you need now the serial number and the loan to be, you need to get the loan thing. So what you can do is, if this is a number, if this is a number, then you want this is the thing, else take the above value. So you can quickly get the OD. Sorry. If this is a number, take the above one, else you take the right side one. This is the formula. So now you can see that we are filling the details with whatever the loan type it is. So knowing the formula is very important. So this is your loan file. Now you can quickly remove unwanted data. Now you can quickly remove your unwanted data. Removing all my blanks, which is your product total, etc. Yeah, so you have your data for your analysis. Let us now understand very important formulas which are there in pivot to understand the data. So there is something called balance. I will explain you more, and there is an NPA date, etc. So we have the questionnaire in the LFAR, asking you to check sanctioned during the year. Are there any quick mortality? And there is an NPA account wise, but customer wise it's not there. That's what you are asked to do it. So how do you do it? So let's quickly now use the NPA period. Let's say my start date and end date and my year, and say loan starting from 1980, and a loan end of the month of this. So you can have the data as old as this. So you can set up your sanction date to the end date to ensure that there is a quick mortality. So I'm just defining a loan period, a loan table. So you can know from which loan they have sanctioned, when they have sanctioned, all those things. Year wise, I've just given a simple formula. So now I'll be saying this as my year table. You can also understand why we need this. So let's say when is, okay. ensure there is no blanks in between. So let's say sanction year. When is this sanction? You can easily use a Vlookup. You will say Vlookup, this is your date on which the loan has been given in your year table, and it's there in the third column. Now you cannot get an exact match, you will get an approximate match. So use this as true. So this is your sanction year. And when is your NPA? So you also need to know quick mortality. I'll explain you that. So if it is an NPA, when did it become NPA? So which means if there is a value here, you want to check the value for the NPA is in column N, right? So in your, let me zoom this. So NPA is in your column N. So I am saying so there's a formula called if error. If you are encountering error, you can always restrict saying because it's not an NPA, you can, if there is an error, nothing. So you can just copy this all the way to your end, and you got sanction year and NPA year. Now let us do a quick analysis of this data. Let us do a quick analysis of this data. So I'm just applying a filter. I'm applying a pivot for this data. So again, let us first do the clustering. So how do we do the clustering? I'll take the balance outstanding in my values, same balance outstanding here. So it is same, but let us just apply the cluster. Right click, you can just do a grouping. It will give you highest, lowest to the high. So you know there are loans starting from 1,600 up until so much. And this branch has 146 crores is the portfolio of this branch. Always use a comma step. And try to get the cluster properly. So as we have seen in the earlier thing, you can also get a percentage, so values as a percentage of grand total. Now you can see there are 853 accounts, okay, which is 65% have only this. Like if I audit some top accounts, all right, if I audit some top accounts, let's say I want to audit these accounts. If I audit this 22 accounts, these 22 accounts will automatically account for 15%, while it was only some 1,300. So this way you can also see if are there any large advances which you can audit, which you want to do an audit of it. So this is a simple way, a kind of a Pareto analysis. You can do it. You will get a hold of the data. Then you also need to know what is the loan type. So you can quickly get what type of loans this branch is carrying. Predominantly there are mortgage loans. So you get the analysis. So every time when you get an analysis, just copy this, put it into another sheet, give it as working details to the staff, say that, okay, go and check. Now, let's say loan sanctioned during the year. So we have the sanction year. So you can apply the pivot just to know by sanction year. Get the sanction year. So these are the loans. Say 2021, there are around 10% of the loans which have been 120 loans have been sanctioned during the year. Now you want to see NPA date to the loan date. So if it is an NPA, like let's apply, if an account is, if the account is NPA, how long it has become an NPA? So is there a quick mortality, which is there is a formula called date difference between your NPA date and your sanction date, and you want the month in how many? You can apply a simple NPA date minus advances. Yeah. So between this, there are 59. In 59 days, this has become NPA. So now you can know that, okay, then you specifically you have to comment anything more than 12 months. You can just rounding it off. So number of months, let's apply a quick mortality thing. And so anything you want anything less than 12, right? Now you can see the loans which have been sanctioned. Let us say this was the last year data, the loans sanctioned in 2021. These loans, they have been sanctioned on 3rd September 20 and 18th May 20. They became NPA on 1st Jan 21 and 12th October 20. So these are quick mortality. So you have a reporting requirement in the thing, how many of them have become quick mortality. So how many have been sanctioned during the year. So all these things you will be applying it here, and you can just put a filter. And whenever you are putting a filter and you want to extract, let's say you want to see this one specific account or 120 account sanctioned year, you just double click it. All the list will be extracted automatically by the system. So these are the various aspects that one have to do. So we have seen the range and range creation also. So yeah, so now let us get into the next part of our the discussion in activities to do financial statements. So you always get the financial statements from the branch. The financial statements from the branch would also be available. These financial statements would be there again in a text file. These financial statements would be there in a text file. So you'll get a financial statements into this text file. All that I would say that you extract the financial statement from the text file, you put it into an Excel file. Put it in Excel. Now we know how to put the data into an Excel file. So once you put the data into Excel file, you prepare same grouping, the trial balance you get each month over month. Copy the trial balance, generate it each month, copy one below the down. Just keep dump the data. Once you dump it, you have a proper grouping that you can give it in the TB, saying that, okay, fine, if this is my bank ledger name and what is my parent, and where do I group, whether it is under deposits. If it is deposit, so it is a balance sheet item under assets liability. So you make one grouping nomenclature. All that you will do is you apply that to this data. Now once you get it, it's done one pivot of P&L and balance sheet. So you have the data month wise. So I can, let me just collapse all. You can get the data month wise, April, May, June. So you have the data, all the data up month wise information. Now you can expand, see whether this is a, like there is a 7 lakhs, but 16 lakhs, 32 lakhs, 39 lakhs, 48 lakhs. So now if you are seeing anomalies month over month, you can actually question if something is missing, right? So it's very important that we know how to extract the data. And when you are preparing the P&L, you can use a simple sum if formula. And when you use a sum if formula, this is the date of April. I just changed the heading to get it as May. You get all the details, values which are there for the month of May. You got the values of the May. Yeah, so that way there's another way you can also present the data, because the trial balance sometimes would be in incremental fashion. So you want to reduce the data which was already there, so you can easily use it. And once when the data is there and it is in say little larger, all that you will do is you can group it. For grouping, you need to know grouping Alt. So for grouping of the data, you need to know how to use Alt plus Shift and a right arrow key. So the moment you do that, Alt Shift right arrow key, it is asking you to group the rows. So, but I don't want it into the grouping is showing into the left side down. Instead of down, you want to, yeah, you can see here there's a data which is grouped, which is here. So what you can do is in your data tab, you can set this and go to data grouping. I'll say I want it on the top. Now you can see that your operating expense, your interest expense, right? Your other income, I'm just grouping. Just one function will enable you to automatically group the data and present it in a simple way. Now it's much easy visible to you. You want to understand, you can just press the press button. You can easily see the expanded data and you get the data. So in your activities to do, you can prepare a P&L summary, balance sheet summary, the TV month-wise and analysis of the report. The next thing which is there in your LFR, after the loans and the financial statements, the next thing which is there on the schedule. So there is a schedules where your current assets, current liabilities over 6 months, anything is there. You can check for age-wise breakup of the outstanding entries. You can get the age-wise breakup of the outstanding entries. So there would be a text file. You can get the age-wise outstanding of the file, and that also you can convert. And let me just open the file. Yeah. So the age-wise analysis of the outstanding file, even that gets converted into easily each, yeah, as an age-wise analysis. So now you know the other assets which are there in the balance sheet. So this is what BGL age-wise. I have formatted it and just applied a pivot. Then there is something called cash disbursed in customer account, not some 2,000 rupees, ATM cash excess. So they are found. So you have the data, it's like this. And how long this is there, you can just filter. There are lines. Now you know there are items outstanding from 2016, 2017. In one go, you can, anything more than 6 months, you have to comment. So here in one go, you can easily comment, okay, this is the age outstanding from this long. So that's another thing that you should be able to do. So there are the file name, which is called the age-wise breakup of all outstanding entries. Imagine the CBS is also like an ERP system like Tally. Like in your Tally, let's say you're posting a sales entry and you have a receipt. Against the receipt you're offsetting, so it gets knocked off. Likewise, there is an underlying entries for each ledger. It should get posted and knocked off. If it is not, then you can see, okay, these are outstanding from so long, and if something is on the receivable side, you should be even more careful and comment that, okay, it is outstanding for a pretty longer period. So friends, these are the various things which I wanted you to work on for the LFR: cash, loans, financial statements, schedules, and deposit. When you get the deposit file, you can quickly check on the FD whether the lien marking is there or not. It is a simple filter that needs to be applied. So I have covered all the activities that we want to do, and this is our balance sheet file. This is aging analysis. These are the formulas. So let me just copy and put it in the chat for you to take it for your consumption. And yeah, so I think we have covered all the things that were expected that needs to be done. So let's see if any of the participants have any questions. So let's look at the questions. So it's 7 o'clock. Back to the organizer. Any questions to the participants? Is there any formula where you got struck, or anything where it is specifically mentioned in the LFR that this is what you have to do, and you have an audit working that you need to know, or you need to, how will you extract the data and how will you fill the data? Netravati is asking, will there be any report which has month-wise TB? Netravati, I would say that you have to download the trial balance. Each month you download the trial balance and copy it in Excel, one below the other, one below the other. Just copy it and mark it the month. Since the grouping you have already done, it's one Vlookup formula you apply, and just apply a filter. You will automatically get the all the P&L and balance sheet month-wise automatically. Accessing of the recording, I think this presentation would be hosted. You should be able to access it. Question from Lakshmi. How do we get the entire session? This video would be recorded, so you will be able to watch it. Yeah. Right. Sir, the questions are answered. Over to you, sir.
Done, sir. Gella,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dear
Thank you
members,
very
we
much.
have come to an end of excellent session. It was a very lively and interactive session, even though it's virtual. Thank you. All credits goes to Gella sir only. He made it so interesting. He's a data analytic expert. I thank on behalf of Bangalore branch of ICAI for your time and effort sharing our knowledge, sir, even in busy schedule of 31st March. Thanks a lot. I also thanks all the members, those who actively participated in this half-a-day bank branch audit seminar. Thank you. I thank you all once again. And I want to give important information that we are planning to have a RRC, Residential Refresher course in Madikeri, because last 2 years we have not done any RRC. It is fun-filled learning. You can come with your family and members. It is in a very good resort like a Paddington Resort. It is on 6th, 7th and 8th. So I request members to block your calendar. Hope you will all join for that Madikeri RRC on 6th, 7th, 8th of May. There are 5 speakers already listed. MP Vijay Kumar is ready to come. Kariwal sir, T.R. Rajesh Kumar, and Narasimhan Ilangovan is a part of this faculty. So we have so many fun-filled activities in those 2 days. I request member to block your calendar. And one more very important program in April, that is on 23rd. It's a full day seminar on crypto. because lot of members will be having lot of questions on how to buy, how it is evolving, what is the regulations and law impacting in India, what is the income tax applicability, what is the GST applicability, so on and so forth. So many questions will be there. To address all these queries, we have two speakers. One is two speakers from USA. They is going to address. Another 3 speakers from India from Bangalore. They are going to address. It's an excellent session on cryptocurrency. It covers entirety, whole and solely. All the topics will be touched in about cryptocurrency. I request member to register for that program. And we have a very fantastic session on April 16, faceless assessment. 2 great speakers like Padamchand Kincha and KK Chaitanya are addressing those half-a-day seminar. I request member to enroll for that CPE seminar. With this, I thank you all for actively participating. I thank once again Gella sir for sharing his valuable knowledge. Thank you. Thank you all. Right.
Thank you.